Guys, it's Thanksgiving. Well, it's almost Thanksgiving by the time I'm recording and probably uploading this. Who knows? So I decided let's make a Thanksgiving episode of Bold Predictions. And if you don't know what that is, it's the segment on my YouTube channel, on my podcast, however you want to view it, where I make predictions just based on the NFL season. Haven't done it for a minute now, but it's Thanksgiving. We're back. There's good lineups of football. And I thought, what better way to do a Thanksgiving bold predictions than have the man, the myth, the legend himself helping make some of these predictions with me. You've seen him on my channel before. It's the one and only Michael Schneider. How are you feeling?
Oh, we're feeling good. Excited for some NFL football this week.
And if you want to explain to the viewers the resemblance of this jersey that you're wearing right now, they can see, it's a CD Lamb jersey. Any particular reason why?
Uh, Hoping he can catch the football this week.
He's a Dallas Cowboys fan, if that hasn't been established. And for Thanksgiving, I also decided to go like fallish, even though pumpkins, sweaters, hay rides, all that stuff that you definitely can't see. But without further ado, I'm not going to waste any time here. We're going to share screen. Look at this. We're going to share the bold predictions that you can see. We'll just recap week 12 here. I don't care if Thursday night football, hit the Bills. They lost. Great job, Sean. I'm still mad at you for that. Steelers versus Bears, pit the Steelers. Don't know why I did that. Patriots versus Bengals, had the Patriots winning, obviously. Giants versus Lions, had the Giants. Got super lucky there. Almost had let the Giants win. Vikings versus Packers, hit the Packers. Pit the Seahawks over the Titans. Colts versus Chiefs. I had the Colts. I thought they were going to win. They were up 20-9 entering the fourth quarter, and they lost. So never rule out Patrick Mahomes. Pit the Ravens, obviously. Browns over Raiders. Luckily for me. Pit Jaguars, better than the Cardinals. Cowboys versus Eagles. That was my game of the week. Yes, last week. Had the Eagles winning. Also thought they were going to win. Had a 21-point lead until the Cowboys decided, let's just score 24 unanswered points and win and get lucky too. Falcons versus Saints. Had the Falcons. Sunday night football. I didn't put it there. It was Bucks versus Rams. Went with the Rams. I'll tell you why. Some one quarterback in particular is my MVP choice. And then Monday night football. Panthers versus 49ers. Had to go with the 49ers. I love the Carolina Panthers, but I just thought there's no way they're being the 49ers, even with 3 interceptions by Brock Purdy. So, record 10-4 last week. Not too bad. Still over 500. But we're going to look ahead to week 13, which is Thanksgiving. We have 3 games on Thursday, tomorrow, starting at 12 p.m. It's Packers versus Lions here. Now, I'm going with the Packers. I know that that's a risky choice to pick, considering the Lions also have a good overall record. But knowing that they almost lost to the New York Giants doesn't give me much confidence. They do look a little bit vulnerable. I don't like what I'm seeing defensively from the Detroit Lions right now. And I absolutely believe that if Jordan Love can minimize those mistakes and not turn the ball over, the Green Bay Packers have a good chance of winning. Michael, how do you feel about this prediction?
You want me to give my prediction?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Lions here, and here's two reasons why. Number one, Lions lost to the Packers week one. Then it was not even a close game at all. So Lions have a chip on their shoulder to come back, get revenge on the Packers. And second of all, they're at home. They did get exposed by the Giants last week, but I think they learned a lot about themselves last week and they know they need to play better. And I think their defense is going to step up, shut down Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs if he does play. And that's why I'm going to go with the Lions. They're going to come back, play a better, more play all 4 quarters this week.
Okay. That's not a bad prediction, honestly. I'm just going with the Packers. I do think Jared Goff's the better quarterback out of those two quarterbacks, but again, like I said, the Lions almost losing to the Giants just gives me more hope for the Packers, although they did uh, keep it close with the Vikings. So we're gonna move on from that. 3:25 p.m., which I assume is going to be America's game of the week. It's Chiefs versus Cowboys. Now, Some might say, why not pick the Cowboys? They just beat the 8-2 Eagles. And what I say to that is, yes, they did. However, they were down 21 points to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have also been exposed the last couple of weeks. They've been vulnerable. They don't look good offensively, and certainly defensively, questionable choices on that end. If the Chiefs get out to a hot start, there's no way you're coming back from that with a quarterback in the caliber that Patrick Mahomes is. Now, do I believe that Dak Prescott's a better quarterback playing out of Patrick Mahomes? I do. There's no denying that. He is a great quarterback. He has two awesome wide receivers in George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. He also has tight ends that he can throw the ball to, and the running game has improved little by little. My only question is, what can the Cowboys bring defensively? Can they keep that momentum from last week going into this week? And you just know that a Kansas City offense will find ways to score. I think this game is going to come down to defense. I think the Chiefs defense is going to find a way to stop George Pickens from those long throws, catches that Dad likes to do. He's going to have to target those tight ends if they want to keep it in close. I'm going with the Chiefs. Michael, you're the Cowboys fan. Do you agree with this prediction?
I'm gonna have to go with my Cowboys here. It will be interesting to see how the Cowboys do in the run game. Again, Josh or not Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor last week really got shut down by the Chiefs defense last week. And it'll be interesting to see how Javonte Williams does. I don't think the Cowboys are going to run that well. So I think it's going to be a pass heavy game for Dak Prescott. I do think our defense has stepped up the past 2 weeks. I think the second half defense is what I'm hoping to see out of the Cowboys this upcoming week. Quinion Williams, Logan Wilson, Kenny Clark, Osa Digizua, they've been doing a great job up in the front. Also, the Chiefs offense has looked a little shaky in recent weeks. So I think the Cowboys defense is going to have a good game, and I'm expecting the Cowboys to win.
I think it's also worth noting it's not confirmed yet, but the Cowboys are hoping to get cornerback Trayvon Diggs back as well for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Spent on IR for the last 4 weeks or so. Hasn't had his best season yet at all. So there's no denying that. But I guess with the addition of getting one of your best cornerbacks back, might give them an advantage too. I just need to see the defense be able to stop the run, be able to cover in tight coverage. And again, with those new additions that the Cowboys brought, it's looking a little bit more promising. But you also have to consider the fact that they did play the Raiders, and now they played the Eagles with an offense who is very vulnerable right now. Moving on from there, Thursday night football, Bengals versus Ravens. I'm going with the Ravens. I know they were 1-5 at one point, have won 5 straight games. You can never rule out Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I know Joe Burrow is expected to be back for that game, so that might throw in the trenches a little bit. But I think what John Harbaugh has done to invent this team and turn around this team from that 1-5 start to where they are now, I can't. I have to go with the Ravens at home on Thursday Night Football for Thanksgiving. Are you riding with the Ravens?
Yes, I'm going to go with the Ravens here. They have been doing a great job since Lamar Jackson came back. They've been on a good winning streak here. They're at home. The Bengals do get Jamar Chase back after suspension. Joe Burrow's expected to play, but I do think the Ravens have just been too hot. They've just been in rhythm. The Bengals, get a couple of guys back, but, I mean, Joe Burrow hasn't played in a long time, and I just think the Ravens are just on it's a bad time to be playing the Ravens right now. Let's just put it that way. They're just playing well on both sides of the ball, and yeah, they're at home here. It's on Thursday Night Football. I'm taking the Ravens big here by double digits.
Oh, I'm gonna say I'm taking Ravens by 3. I think it's gonna be a close game, but again, if the Bengals defense can find a way to stop Derrick Henry, get Lamar to turn the ball over, then it might get interesting. Okay, moving on to Friday. We do have a Friday game at 2 o'clock, I believe. It's Bears versus Eagles. I know the Bears have been getting hot as well. I know Caleb Williams is getting better and better by each week. The Eagles are playing at home now. I do have a hope that they worked on their issues that occurred last week. Maybe I don't know if Lane Johnson is back yet or not. I don't know how long he's out from injury, but I think what really hurt the Eagles in last week's game was turnovers, turning the ball over, fumbling, uh, special return punt of Saquon fumbling the ball. If they just hold on to the ball and make those passes that and catches, that game probably would not have ended in the Cowboys winning on a game-winning field goal. I still believe in Jalen Hurts. I do believe that this offense is still good. It's just finding ways to minimize those turnovers and those mental mistakes. And defensively, too, that defense also forced the Dak interception. And yeah, so I'm going with the Eagles. You look like you're disagreeing with me.
Nope, I'm going with the Eagles as well. This is definitely a bounce back game for them. I just don't see the Eagles losing back-to-back games. They're back at home. Bears did struggle a little bit on the defensive side last week against the Steelers. Steelers did not have Aaron Rodgers in that game. They did put up 20, I think the Steelers did put up 28 or so points. So a little worried about the Bears defense there. And I just think the Eagles, again, they just have too much firepower. I think this is such a bounce back game for them, and they'll figure things out and they'll beat the Bears. I'm thinking it's going to be, I think, 6 point win by the Eagles.
Okay. Now we're going to Sunday games, 49ers versus Browns. I want to preface this quickly. Brock Purdy had a bad game on Monday Night Football. There's no denying that. 3 interceptions on 3 straight possessions. 2 of those interceptions looked like they were a little bit underthrown. I'm not going to make I'm not going to give him credit for that. He did play bad. I think one of those interceptions, his wide receiver just fell on the route, and that led to that 3rd pick. So there's no denying that he was bad. The Browns are still rolling with Shedeur Sanders. He is a rookie. It's only going to be his 2nd NFL start. If the 49ers, again, limit those turnovers, if Brock Purdy just makes the throws that he needs to throw and doesn't get fancy with it, then I do believe that that team has a shot to win. They are missing their 2 best defensive players on the other end, but Robert Saleh has done a very good job working around that. I don't know much about the Browns defense. I know Myles Garrett is a beast out there. The 49ers O-line is going to have to work its tail off to protect their quarterback there and make sure he doesn't get those sacks. But when you have a running back like Christian McCaffrey, when you have a running tight end like George Kittle, there's so many weapons that he can throw the ball to. It's just making sure that he's putting the ball in the right spot. And I think running the ball too. You're going to have to rely on your quarterback to make big plays. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the 49ers here. I think it'll be closer than expected. I think Shador did play well last week against the Raiders. Had a good throw, some good throws last week. But I do think the 49ers do have they have the better overall team, the better team around them. I do think, though, Myles Garrett will get 2 sacks in this game, but I do have the 49ers win this game. I'm going to say about by 3 or 4 points, though.
You can't roll out Myles Garrett. He's a beast. I know he's close to breaking the sack record, too, I believe. Okay. Jaguars versus Titans. I'm going with the Jaguars. There's no reason behind that. Do you agree?
Yep, I'm going Jaguars. They've been playing well. I do think the Titans, again, just still super young, still a lot of inexperience. And I think the Jaguars will take care of the Titans. So
yeah. Okay, Texans versus Colts here. I think this is going to be my big bold prediction for the week. The Colts have one of the better records of the NFL. They did have 3 losses, I believe, on the season now. You want to fact check me there?
It's 8. Yep, they're 8
and 3. Texans are what, 6-5, 7-5?
6-5.
6-5. The Colts, Daniel Jones threw a lot of overpasses in the Chiefs game when it mattered the most, when it came to the 4th quarter. Bit rusty here. That Texans defense is incredible. What they did on Thursday Night Football last week against the Buffalo Bills here, sacking that quarterback, Josh Allen, I believe 5 times in a game. That defense is legit. And if that defense can force Daniel Jones to throw the ball, get sacked, get to the quarterback, because he's not very mobile. He is a little bit older compared to some of these other younger quarterbacks in the NFL. If that Texans defense re- does its job, I don't think the offense has to worry about putting up much points. I'm going with the Texans. It's a bold choice here. Michael, are you riding with the Texans? Are you taking the better team 8-3 Colts?
I'm gonna take the Indianapolis Colts here. Again, the Texans, I don't know. CJ Stroud's still questionable right now. Don't know if he'll play or not. Texans are in a 3-game winning streak. Davis Mills has done a great job, taking over that role and getting the Texans back into the playoff picture, really. But I do take the Colts in this game. I think Jonathan Taylor really had a bad game last week. I do see him bouncing back this week. I do see the Colts and the whole team bouncing back. Colts are undefeated at home. They're 6-0 this year. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
ride with the Colts.
I didn't know they were undefeated at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I think it comes down to defense in this game, which defense is going to win them the game, and I'm going with the Texans solely for that reason. I think it's also worth noting that the Texans are in playoff contention. The Cowboys are on the hunt in playoff contention too. So I think it's a must win for them. And I don't know who other team here is. Okay. Saints versus Dolphins. Saints, I believe, have only won 2 games this season or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins have 4 wins. I've still been advocating for the Dolphins to fire their head coach. I don't know what Mike McDaniel is doing, and some of his choices are a little bit questionable. Tua also questionable as a quarterback, making those mistakes. I'm going with the Saints. I think they're going to surprise us this week. I do know that the Saints lost to the Panthers, but they've also beaten a good team too, I think. So I'm going with the Saints on the sole reason that I don't know what Tua is going to bring to the table after a bye week. What do you think?
Yeah. Saints really did struggle last week against the Falcons, only scoring, I think, 10 points. I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. I think the Dolphins will win this game. Not by much, but I think Dolphins are the better team, and Saints have just been on the struggle bus here lately, and so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Falcons versus Jets. Again, I don't think it needs much explaining here. Jets don't look good at all, even with the benching of Justin Fields back a few weeks ago. I'm going with the Falcons. I know the Falcons lost to the Panthers, but the Panthers are not as bad as what I think they are, too. So, and it's an away game. The Jets have just not impressed me much at all this season. Are you taking the Falcons?
I'm gonna go with the Jets here. I'm gonna go with an upset
Oh,
here. I'm going the Jets. I do think, Tyrod Taylor did play last week against the Ravens. The Jets were hanging in there with the Ravens. They were hanging in there at halftime into the third quarter. Then they just kind of lost it into the back half of the third, into the fourth. But I'm gonna go with an upset here with the Jets. They're at home. Um, I do think the Jets can find ways to win this game. I think getting Brees Hall touches, John Mechie as well had a touchdown last week. Getting those two guys involved early is very important. But I'm gonna go with the upset with the Jets.
okay. All right. We have Cardinals versus Bucks now. Buccaneers, who have also been gotten their behinds kind of kicked last Sunday night against the Rams. I don't know what the final score was. I do know that the Rams put up more points than them, hence why they lost. Cardinals, also, I believe, are last place in the NFC West at this moment in time. I'm trusting. I know Baker Mayfield's out with injury too. I don't know who the backup quarterback is for the Buccaneers, but just based on what I've seen from the Cardinals, I do know the Cardinals beat the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. I think the Cowboys shot themselves in the foot. There's no reason why the backup quarterback and Jacoby Brissett had the game that he did, but I'm still riding with the Buccaneers here. Are you riding?
I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers as well. They are on a 3-game losing streak, but they are playing the Cardinals this week. This is a definite good bounce back game for them, hopefully. I think they figure things out, what's been going wrong. They did get beat really badly on Sunday Night Football. Um, but I see them bouncing back, getting a win here is very important. They're still contending with the Panthers for the NFC South, so they got to keep on winning. Both them and the Panthers are going to be in a tight race till the end. So I'm going to go with the Buccaneers on this.
I think this is absolutely a must win for the Bucks because I
Yes.
you can't roll out the Panthers yet either. Okay, Speaking of the Panthers, after this, it's Rams versus Panthers. My, I don't know if it needs much debating right now. I know Drake May is also in this conversation at this moment in time, but I'm going with the Rams. Matthew Stafford has had an incredible season, 30 touchdowns, two interceptions. The Rams, one of their two losses has come to the 49ers, who are also looking into playoff contention. So they're not losing to bad teams at all. The Rams are legit. Matthew Stafford is legit. If he if the Rams make it far in the postseason, go back to a Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, and Matthew Stafford becomes a first-time NFL MVP, I think there's legitimate discussion of whether or not he could be one of the greatest talents of his generation in this moment in time. I'm going with the Rams. Again, Bryce Young struggled against the 49ers defense, a defense that has lost their two best players here. He did throw two interceptions. I don't think he's as great as what people make him out to be. Matthew Stafford is definitely a veteran in that regard. Bryce Young still needs stuff to work on. Ted McMillan also dropping some passes by his quarterback. You need to make those catches as well. Are you riding with the Rams in a double digit victory?
Yes, I'm riding with the Rams on this one. Panthers offense did not look good last week. Rams looked outstanding. They played the best game you could ask out of
Mm-hmm.
them on both sides of the ball. Their defense was really good against a good explosive offense from the Buccaneers with Mecca Buka, Baker Mayfield, and Sean Tucker, and good running back for the Buccaneers. I'm going with the Rams though. I think it'll be closer than expected, but I'm going to say the Rams by a touchdown.
I think the Rams are by double digits, and I say that as a Carolina Panthers fan. Bryce Young just needs to make smarter decisions with the football, too. One of his interceptions on Monday night was absolutely avoidable. And I think it's to saying that you cannot turn the ball over in the red zone.
Hmm.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. Granted, I believe Brock Purdy also threw interceptions in the red zone as well. All right. Next up, Vikings versus Seahawks. I'm going with the Seahawks. Sam Darnold last a few weeks ago threw four interceptions in one game. The Seahawks still won that game. So even if your quarterback throws four interceptions, plays the worst game of his season so far, and you still win that game, there's still hope that you a bad quarterback play can still result in a win if other people do their part. JJ McCarthy's also not looking really good at this moment in time. I believe he leads the league in interceptions thrown on deep passes or passes over 15 yards. The second worst quarterback is Brock Purdy, and we saw what happened against the Carolina Panthers. I don't like the Vikings where they are at this moment in time. But he's JJ McCarthy is still young. He still has room to grow. He's just making those rookie mistakes that unfortunately you just can't afford to make. And if you have a great game from Sam Darnold and the Seahawks who have arguably the best wide receiver in the league right now by a long shot here, and I don't know much about their defense, but it's going to come down to Seahawks offensive play here. Are you taking the Seahawks or are you going with the upset against the Vikings?
I'm going Seahawks by 20. I've watched
20.
I've watched the Vikings play. They're not good. Offense looks atrocious the past 3 weeks. They're just yeah. JJ McCarthy's just been terrible. That's pretty much it. The Seahawks are a
Mm-hmm.
better team. They were up 23-3. They did let the Titans come back last week a little bit, but I think the Seahawks win this by 20. I'm sticking with that.
Do you think it's a quarterback issue? Do you think it's a JJ McCarthy issue in Minnesota, or is it a coaching issue, or is it just like those rookie mental mistakes that he's making?
I think it's a little bit on both. Um, I think JJ McCarthy is the balls he's been throwing are just they're just not near. I mean, he's got the best wide receiver in the league, Justin Jefferson. Some of the balls he's been throwing are not even near him. Like he can't even catch it. I mean, you just got to put the ball in a somewhat decent spot for him to catch the ball. He'll come down with it, but it's been overthrows, just inaccurate on throws a lot. But I do think on Kevin O'Connell though. Kind of goes on him too, and the offensive staff. Just they just haven't been able to get any rhythm on the offensive side, and they've been lacking on that for the past 3 weeks. So,
Don't the Seahawks have JSN though?
hmm
He's great, but okay. I'm going with the Seahawks for two. Okay, we're gonna go through these last two, running a little bit short on time because I want to get into Sunday and Monday night football here. We did that. Bills versus Steelers. I'm going with the Bills. Again, Josh Allen was MVP for a reason last year. I know he's not getting the help that he needs on the offensive line. The Pittsburgh Steelers, too. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is back. I assume that Mason Rudolph will get that start again. I think it's all about if Josh Allen can run the ball. Can he throw the ball to his receivers and his tight ends? And can the Bills defense step up and make plays? That's what's going to ultimately come down to. I'm going with the Bills. Are you
yeah.
going? The Bills are
This
riding
is
with
a tough one.
Steelers.
The Bills did have lost to the Dolphins and the Texans this month. Steelers do have Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf questionable right now. This is really a toss up,
It's a
but
50-50 for sure.
I think the Steelers defense will find a way to win this game for them.
Ooh.
I don't. I think, yeah, I'm thinking the Steelers defense will force a couple turnovers. TJ Watt had a good sack last week against the Bears to force a fumble. That eventually turned into a touchdown. So I'm gonna go the Steelers by one in
Ooh,
this game.
You're gonna
21-20. I'm going Steelers.
take Mason Rudolph over Josh Allen.
Depends on if Rodgers plays, but I still think that the Bills have been shaky. They really
Mm-hmm.
have been shaky the past weeks. Their offense hasn't looked good. Josh Allen does not look good. Steelers defense will step up when it matters. Yeah.
Okay. I still think he needs better protection on the offensive line, and hence the reason why he was sacked 5 times on Thursday Night Football. But I like that. That's a good prediction. Okay. Very quickly, Raiders versus Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers. The Raiders still 2 wins. I don't know what's happening in Vegas. They need to make a lot of changes over there. I know they have Max Crosby, but when you have just one good defensive player and like 13, 14 other players who can't do their job well, it's a recipe for disaster. I do think Justin Herbert's having a good season so far. I like what I'm seeing from the Chargers. Might be a little bit questionable too in terms of the teams that they've played and how they've won, but all of that into account, I'm going with the Chargers based on the fact that they actually have a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. Raiders are just they've looked lost the last couple of weeks. They just don't look right. Ashton Genty's a bright side on their team, but just both sides of the ball, just they just have not been playing good football recently. I got the Chargers winning this by 10.
I think that's a good choice. Okay. Sunday night football here. Broncos versus Commanders. I know the Commanders are what? What's their
Three
record?
and eight.
3-8. Broncos 8-2, 9-2. I'm going with the Broncos. Now, that said, the Raiders allowed 10 points to the Denver Broncos a few weeks ago. The Broncos won that game 10-7. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Raiders by, I believe, 14, 15 points or so. So the Raiders have been competitive in the past. The Broncos did not look competitive against the Raiders. However, they did beat the Chiefs. The Broncos did beat the Chiefs. They did beat, I forget who they played last week. I'm pretty sure I
The
picked them.
Broncos didn't play last week.
They had a bye
They're
week.
coming off a bye. Yep.
They're coming off of a bye. I know they've been the Chiefs. They have also been the Philadelphia Eagles, too. Two really good teams. Again, I'm taking Bo Nix and I'm trusting the fact the Broncos have had many fourth quarter comebacks this season. I believe probably more than any team. They have found ways to come back and win games here. Sean Payton's an incredible coach. Dan Quinn also not having his best year in Washington. I know Jan Daniels is out with injury too. That stinks when you have one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC East at least, or I guess with the overall picture and stuff. I'm taking the Denver Broncos. I think it's going to be a closer game than what people think. The Broncos offense needs to obviously step up and not lose leads in the first 3 quarters. But I again without Jane Daniels, the Commanders just look rusty, even with some of their better wide receivers. Who are
Yeah,
you
I'm
taking?
gonna go with the Broncos here. Commanders again, they're just similar to what the Raiders are. They just, injuries with Jaden Daniels against the Seattle Seahawks was really devastating to see that happen. Um, you know, just they just have a lot of question marks, a lot of just things just haven't been going their way this year. Broncos coming off a bye, did come off winning a game-winning field goal against the Chiefs. They have been playing really well. They're 9-2 right now. They're looking like they can take the division. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna go the Broncos. They're favored by 6, and I think that's pretty fair. I think I'm gonna stick with the Broncos by 6. I think that's a good line for them. I think it'll be closer. I think it being at the Commanders will keep it a little close, but I do expect since it's Sunday Night Football, the Commanders last time played on Sunday Night Football. If you do remember, they played the Seattle Seahawks. That game was not even close. It was 28-0 at one point.
Hmm.
They will be prepared, play better, but I do say the Broncos by 6.
Okay. I'm really, really long time, so we're going to wrap this up very quickly. I think it's also worth knowing, yep, the Broncos coming off of a bye week, getting that extra rest. The Commanders, I believe, played last week. I think they played last week, or maybe they
No,
didn't.
they're coming off
Are
another
they
bye as
okay?
well,
So
so
two,
that's why I'm expecting to be a little closer. They're both coming
okay,
off byes, but
yeah,
yeah,
okay. So very, very, very quickly here. Monday Night Football, Giants versus Patriots. The Giants are 2-10. The Patriots are 10-2.
hmm
Drake May, uh, arguably the second leading candidate for MVP. You can make that argument against him or Matthew Stafford. I'm going with the Patriots here. The Giants, however, did almost beat the Lions last week. So that's also something to take into account. I don't know if anyone has exposed the Patriots offense yet and how Drake May likes to play, but I'm expecting this to be maybe just like a blowout, especially without Jackson Dart in concussion protocol still. I'm taking the Patriots by 14. Are you taking the Patriots by more than that or less?
I'm gonna go Patriots by 7 here.
Okay.
Giants did fire their defensive coordinator
Mm-hmm.
on Monday, so again, their defense played terrible against the Lions, but Jameis Winston has been a bright side on the Giants team. I think that's why I'll keep it close. I think Jameis Winston played really well on Sunday. Finding his Theo Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Tyrone Tracy played really well. So you got a lot of great spots that they played well last week. But again, Drake May is more than likely, I would say he's the best quarterback in the AFC right now. Um, Patriots got a good running back room with Travion Henderson and Ramon
Mm-hmm.
Stevenson. Stephon Diggs has been a bright side on the Patriots as well. I just think the Patriots are going to keep on rolling here at home and improve to 11-2.
Yeah. I know the AFC playoff picture is also not as tight as probably the NFC playoff picture is. I think it's easier to get into the AFC playoffs at this moment in time. But again, Drake, are you are you buying into the fact that Drake May should be MVP very quickly?
Yeah, I definitely think he can win MVP for sure. Him and Matthew Stafford are going after it.
Mm-hmm.
They're both a bright side. I mean, Drake May is super young. I think he's only 23. Yeah, he's only 23. So he's got a bright future ahead of him for sure. So
Mike Vrabel has also done a fantastic job here. Okay, I am out of time here, so I'm going to ask you one question here. What is your game of the week for this week?
game of the week. I would definitely say for Sunday, I would definitely say Bills and Steelers. That could be a good one if Aaron Rodgers does play.
Okay.
For Thanksgiving Day, I do believe Chiefs Cowboys that's definitely a playoff game. Both teams really need to win. Chiefs are still hunting for a playoff spot. Cowboys are still hunting for a playoff spot. That's why I'm choosing it as the Thursday night or Thursday game of the week, just because both teams still need some more. They need to do more to make it into the playoffs, get a big win. I do think Packers and Lions are solidified as playoff teams. Ravens have solidified themselves. If they keep on winning here, I think they will. But the Chiefs Cowboys are just kind of in the middle right now. They need to prove themselves for sure. So
I absolutely think this is the must win for the Dallas Cowboys. They still have some leeway for the playoffs. I believe they can only afford to lose one more game out of the games that they have coming up. And they do have the Lions next week. So if they can beat the Chiefs, they can afford to lose to the Lions and win out. There's still hope there. But I think my game of the week, I'm going Bengals versus Ravens. Joe Burrow, that first game back. Lamar Jackson, also back from injury, has turned this Ravens team around from that 1-5 start. I think we're in for a good Thanksgiving night game. And then during our Sunday slate, I don't know. I think I'm excited for the Cardinals and the Buccaneers. Just seeing if well how they would look again without Baker Mayfield and going up against a mobile quarterback like Kyler Murray, who we know can run the ball. All right, that is it for bowl predictions here. We're gonna stop sharing the screen. That's it. That's our Thanksgiving episode. Again, big thanks to Michael for coming on and providing his expertise here. Very much appreciated. You can check out these games and find local listings and times in your area. And again, 3 Thanksgiving games here, starting off with the Packers versus the Lions at noon, Chiefs at Cowboys at 3:25, and then Thanksgiving night, Bengals versus Ravens, battle of the AFC quarterbacks. And we'll see what Joe Cool looks like returning from injury of turf toe. Thank you so much for watching here. You can find episodes of Bold Predictions on my YouTube channel. I also post other videos of main podcast stuff. And who knows, basketball, NCAA basketball, college basketball is going on right now. We might need to do a college basketball episode on the main, especially talking about how the Big 12 looks like this year, because it is a close race. Good, very good teams in the Big 12 for basketball. And of course, college football last week, and then look into playoff picture two and bowls. So with that, do you have any final words before we close off?
No.
Nope. Again, thank you so much for being here, and we'll review bowl predictions again next week.